Hello everyone, how are you? In today's video, we are going to talk about the history of video games, from the first electronic games to the most modern consoles. Did you know that the first video game was created in the 1950s and Pong, released in 1972 by Atari, was the first game to be commercialized? Let's learn more about this fascinating evolution of games that are part of the culture and entertainment of people all over the world. The beginning, the origins of digital games between 1951 and 1958. Electronic games were created by computer scientists as part of their research. Some of the first known games include NRO-UTP and Tennis for Two. The latter, created by physicist William Higginbotham in 1958, is considered one of the first interactive games with graphics and consisted of a tennis simulation on an oscilloscope. The golden age of video games between 1971 and 1983. Electronic games became popular and began to be commercialized on a large scale. The first arcades appeared, which were machines of games installed in public places like bars, malls and arcades. Some of the most famous games of this time are Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Asteroids, and Donkey Kong. The first home consoles also appeared, such as the Atari 2600, the Odyssey, the Intellivision and the ColecoVision, which allowed players to connect the games to the television and exchange the cartridges. The video game crisis between 1983 and 1985. There was a drop in sales and quality of games caused by various factors such as market saturation, competition from personal computers, piracy, and lack of innovation. Many companies went bankrupt or abandoned the game business, and the future of electronic games seemed uncertain. The rebirth of video games between 1985 and 1990. Electronic games returned to grow and diversify thanks to the emergence of new companies, technologies, and genres. Nintendo launched the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, which became a worldwide success with games like Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda and Metroid. Sega launched the Master System and the Mega Drive, which competed with Nintendo with games like Sonic the Hedgehog, Phantasy Star, and Streets of Rage. Computer games also developed with titles like King's Quest, The Secret of Monkey Island and Doom. The era of 16 and 32 bits between 1990 and 1995. Electronic games became more complex and realistic with graphics, sounds and stories more elaborate. Nintendo launched the SNES, Super Nintendo Entertainment System, which had games like Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country and Chrono Trigger. Sega launched the Sega CD and the 32X, which were accessories for the Mega Drive that allowed to run games on CD and with 3D graphics like Sonic CD and Virtua Racing. Sony entered the console market with the PlayStation, which stood out for its 3D games like Crash Bandicoot, Resident Evil and Final Fantasy VII. The era of 64 and 128 bits between 1996 and 2005. Electronic games became even more sophisticated and immersive with 3D graphics, special effects, and varied gameplay. Nintendo launched the Nintendo 64, which had games like Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time and GoldenEye 007. Sega launched the Sega Saturn and the Dreamcast, which had games like Nights into Dreams, Shenmue and Sonic Adventure. Sony launched the PlayStation 2, which was the best-selling console in history with games like Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, God of War and Metal Gear Solid 3. Microsoft entered the console market with the Xbox, which had games like Halo, Fable, and Forza Motorsport. Market of consoles with Xbox that had games like Halo, Fable, and Ninja Gaiden 7th generation between 2005 and 2013. Electronic games became more connected and interactive with online features, social networks, and motion controls. Nintendo launched the Wii, which had games like Wii Sports, Super Mario Galaxy, The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess. Sony launched the PlayStation 3, which had games like Uncharted, The Last of Us and God of War 3. Microsoft launched the Xbox 360, which had games like Gears of War, Mass Effect, and Halo 3. 8th generation between 2013 and 2020, electronic games became more integrated and accessible with multiple platforms, streaming services, and virtual reality. Nintendo launched the Wii U and the Switch, which had games like Super Mario 3D World, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild and Animal Crossing, New Horizons. Sony launched the PlayStation 4, which had games like God of War, Spider-Man, and The Last of Us Part 2. Microsoft launched the Xbox One, which had games like Forza Horizon 4, Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Gears 5.
Ninth generation. The ninth generation of video games is the current generation that we are enjoying.
Sony launched the PlayStation 5 with games like Tekken 8, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Resident Evil 4. Microsoft launched the Xbox Series X and Series S with games like Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat 11 and Hogwarts Legacy. This generation is still in full swing and with many games being released. As we saw in the video, the history of video games is very rich and long. Since the 1950s, technology has been evolving. Before, video games were seen as toys, and nowadays they are played by all age groups, forming a billion-dollar industry, even more than the film industry.
Did you know that?
Well, guys, this was our video about the history of video games, from their beginnings to the present day. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a little more about this form of art and fun that enchants us so much. I am passionate about games and I think they are an incredible form of expression, creativity, and entertainment. And you, what is your favorite game? What is your preferred console? Leave your opinion in the comments and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel.
A big hug and see you next time.